Welcome to another episode of Live with Laura. I'm your host, Laura Hettiger. Think about this for a moment. You meet people in life who say they want to make a difference, and that want is a beautiful thing. And then you meet people who need to make a difference, and that need is a beautiful thing. And then you meet the people who absolutely do make a difference. That is the focus of today's podcast. I'm sitting across from the woman who founded Moms on a Mission, and since becoming a mom myself, I have realized when a mom gets something in her head, but more importantly, on her heart, she does it. And that's exactly what Moms on a Mission does. I am thrilled to be joined by one of the founders of this local organization, the Mom on a Mission herself, Dawn Putnam. Dawn, it's good to see you.
Hi, thanks for having me on today, Laura. I appreciate the opportunity.
I appreciate it because you are giving us so much of your time, and I appreciate that you have followers in your community who respect and value and love you so much.
Oh, gosh.
That they contacted me and said, you have to have the people behind Moms on a Mission on the podcast.
Yeah, the community, we are very community driven, and I always call it our village. I always say, if you think you don't have a village, you do. You just haven't found us yet. So because of that, people are very interconnected, and they're very passionate about what we do because it's what they do too.
And you're very passionate about what you do.
Absolutely.
Let's get some background on you. Where are you from? What's your family like? What led you to creating Moms on a Mission?
Okay, so I was born and raised in Dupo, Illinois, and that's where our building is now. So we didn't move very far with our mission. Basically, what happened, how this all came about was my dad is a retired truck driver now from Yellow Freight, but before he was retired, my sister and I would occasionally load up a lunch for him and take it to our dad because he worked on the dock there. And we started noticing there were some homeless people around where he worked, and we thought, well, you know, we were already making a lunch, let's make a couple of lunches. And it turned into a couple more and a couple more, and eventually the community became pretty curious as to what we had going on. And so that's when we decided, what if we start inviting people to be a part of this? You know, let's see how far this can go.
At the time that you were doing this, were you and your sister already moms?
We were. Yeah, we were both moms. We both had more children since then, but we were kind of in the middle of our motherhood. So that's where the term Moms on a Mission came from. We were just a couple of moms who wanted to go out and extend the love of motherhood, that kind of sense of belonging, that somebody does care about you even when they're not right next to you, out into the community, and that's kind of what we've been doing ever since.
And isn't it so interesting once you do become a mom, how much your heart not only expands for your child, but for everyone?
Absolutely. The empathy was off the charts. I see my children in everybody. I have a child that's 20 years old all the way down to 8 years old, and I have nieces who may as well be my daughters. We are a very close family. They volunteer with us. And so I can just see myself and my children in everybody. And how could you not want to help people when you can see your children in them?
It's amazing that you have been doing this for so long. Let's go back 2014. That's when you and your sister are feeding people near where your dad works.
Yes.
You're in Illinois. It takes about 2 years to get, is it the licensing to be a 501c3?
Basically, yeah, that's what happens. We never even considered that we would ever become an organization. Never once. We did not start this with any kind of end goal of becoming an organization. Things just happened the way they did. And we were met with a fantastic opportunity for a very large donation. But in order to receive it, it needed to be deductible. And so they were like, look, I never wanted to collect money. When you collect money, things get a little bit tricky. And so I was like, let's just get people to donate items. And we would have item drives, deodorant drives, hygiene drives, food drives, things like that. But then, you know, when things kept growing bigger, we learned that, well, maybe if we do become an established organization through the state, our message can spread further. And so that's what happened. We decided, well, let's go for it. And we got it in an absolutely expedited timing. It was all something that happened that was absolutely insane, and if I didn't live it, I probably wouldn't believe it myself. We had a couple contact us. They said, hey, our uncle sadly has passed away, and we have all of his clothing items. We'd like to donate them to the homeless. We know you serve the homeless. And we said, oh, absolutely. At that time, there was just 3 of us. We had a friend named Christina Beaver who had joined us, me and my sister at that time. And so we were like, sure, we'll come pick them up. I mean, we really need these. Blue jeans are like gold on the streets. So we went to go pick them up. And just through regular conversation, this couple was very inspired. And they were also receiving an inheritance from that uncle for the amount of $30,000. And they said, what do you need the most? And we said, we need a headquarters. Here's where the story where you go, no. So 2 weeks prior to that, my place of employment, the man who employed me was also a preacher. And he was joking with me, Dawn, we're going to be trying to move our building. You ought to buy my old church. You ought to buy my old church. And I was like, that's hilarious, sir. I work here. You know how much money I have. There's just no way that we could ever do that. So we joked about it. And then when that happened, I called them and I was like, you're not going to believe this. We have the opportunity. But then there was another hurdle. We needed to be a 501c3 for them to be able to donate that inheritance to us and for it to be deductible for them. And we found out that through the state of Illinois, it typically takes several months to get this back. And this needed to happen by the end of the month. They needed to pick who they were going to donate it to by the end of the month. So we were like, let's go for it. And in an impressive and unheard of 2 weeks' time, we got our letter back from the state saying, absolutely, signed, sealed, delivered. Next thing we know, we're opening a bank account and we are putting a down payment on our own building. And then we paid that off. We ended up paying $45,000 for the building, which isn't anything, $100 at a time. Whenever we could fundraise or have, little charity events, bake sales, whatever we could do. And we worked really hard and we got our building paid off. And now it's become the center of all of our missions.
And I'm glad you brought it back to that because I was hoping you could communicate how important it is to have a physical place that you can do this work.
It absolutely is because of the tremendous amount of missions that we have. We need a place to store things. And before we had a building, we were paying for a storage shed, and that seemed crazy to me because we need that money to purchase things for our homeless friends. When we first started, we only served the homeless. So this building has enabled us to serve everybody. We serve the entire community now. And the community knows that this is a place where you can come to receive assistance, where you can come to receive some support, where you can come to find your cheerleaders. If you come here, I promise you will leave happier at the very least.
I want to connect some dots in your story that I have picked up on, and I'm hopeful that they're correct.
Okay.
You're a woman of faith.
I am, yes.
You are working for a church.
Yeah, well, the building is a church, and God is still there. People all the time, they'll say, I love your ministry. You should be a minister. And I would love to do such a thing, but that seems like something that requires so much more education, perhaps, so much more being able to be the person that they would want me to be because I mess up. And I don't want to be, I hope people find Jesus through me in spite of me, if that makes sense. But I give all the glory to God. We have God signs all the time. Even in our signing of the picture for the building, there is this ray of light. Where did it come from? We don't know. But if you look on the Facebook page, it's on there. That's God. He's been in it. He's the captain. We're the ship. That's how we're able to end up where we are. He takes us. You just go, this is going to be quite a ride. Let's go.
And even the fact that the state of Illinois was able to expedite the licensing in the timeline that you said usually is unheard of.
Absolutely, it's unheard of. We couldn't even believe it. I mean, and the way that it all lined up. And there was another factor to that. when I first approached the preacher and I said, I think we can do it, he said, okay, hold on. I have to first talk my congregation into moving churches. This is the way the church works. We bring it up to the congregation. So they brought me in front of the congregation to explain to them what we would be using the building for. And he said, okay, I'm going to start looking. I'm going to start looking for a building, and we're going to make this happen. He gets a call. You know how we got he gets a crazy call from a different preacher who has a building in Foster Pond, which is the same building, the same church that he and his wife had gotten married at. That's why they thought to call him. And they offered him the church. And they told him he'd only need about $30,000 down, which was the exact amount that we had gotten. And if you are not a person of faith, you must be a person of heck of coincidence, because there was a lot that happened. I think there was a lot moving around because God knew. God always knows where we are going to end up. And we ended up exactly where we need to be.
That's 2016.
Yes.
You have grown tremendously in the last decade.
Absolutely.
What has happened?
So it all started because we were serving the homeless, and then we started receiving items that weren't really practical for our homeless friends, but were still useful items. Lamps, shower curtains, different kinds of home goods that people would say, hey, can you use this? Can you use this? And I have a problem wasting anything. So I was like, I'll find a need for it. Absolutely. If you don't want it, don't throw it away. I'll find a need for it. And so through our building, we created something called the Pay or Pray, which is a nonprofit public thrift shop where everything's free with a suggested donation price of $0.25. And so this operates strictly through the community. All of the donations come in, volunteers, and we have no paid staff. So volunteers donate their time to put it out. The community comes, and if they can't afford to pay for the items, we absolutely let you take clothing and food and whatever you need. Food is never charged. And we pray for you, and we pray for your situation. But I always want to make it clear that you don't have to be a person of faith like I am to come in and receive love, and because everybody deserves it, no matter what you believe at the end of the day. I mean, we're neighbors, and you're supposed to take care of your neighbors. So that's how we operate it, just like that, like a neighborhood pantry. Come over to your mom's house, and how you go over there, and you're like, I'm going to leave with some hamburger. It's kind of like that. It's just like mom's house, we might tell you to drink more water and make sure you put on your sunscreen, but it's all out of love. And so out of our building as well, besides the Pay or Pray, we operate the Pint-Sized Pantry, which is a food pantry that is open when our building is open twice a week. Every week, people can come in and get food items of their choice. We put them out. You can pick whatever you need. And aside of that, we had a local Boy Scout who made his Eagle Scout project, the Blessing Box, which has become a staple at our building. Community members send me pictures all the time. I just filled up the Blessing Box. We filled it up for this reason, just because we wanted to, in honor of so-and-so. And then I have other community members that message me and say, thank goodness, that stuff was there. I wanted to thank you for me being able to get the items I needed to make it until we were able to afford groceries, because we always just try to get people over the hump. That's just the basement of the Pay or Pray. And then we have the upstairs. The upstairs, we offer a lot of different things. For instance, we just hosted a Don't Miss the Dance event. During this event, we collect formal wear for prom and homecoming, and we collected a lot. The community is very generous, and they really rally around us. So we had over 400 gowns, over 200 suits, jewelry, accessories, shoes, handbags, everything you could think of, and we transform what used to be, the congregation center where they had church. We took all the pews out, and it's a big open room now, and we change our events. We host different things up there to support the community. And so we did the Don't Miss the Dance, and this past weekend we invited out a little over 200 girls. There was probably 50 boys this time, and you never see as many boys as you do girls. But they come out, and we have dressing rooms, and we try on the dresses, and we really hype them up, and we really get them excited about prom. And we don't charge anything. We just reiterate the pay it forward, just one day, whenever you can, however you can. It doesn't even have to be this dress, whatever you can do to extend this kindness into the community. So that's one of the things that we do upstairs.
And one of the many, many things that Dawn and the team at Moms on a Mission are doing right now. And there's a whole laundry list that we are going to continue to go through. Friends, it is a beautiful Thursday morning. And as you are listening to this in real time, I would encourage you to share this episode with someone who has an idea that they've shared with you and they keep thinking about it and they're just not ready to take that next step. Dawn is the one to nudge you and say, do it, because you never know what it's going to grow into.
You never know. It's a mustard seed, my friends.
Yes, and how many people it's going to impact. And Dawn and the team at Moms on a Mission in DuPont, Illinois do that each and every day, each and every week. You are watching Live with Laura. We'll be right back with more from Dawn and Moms on a Mission. We are thrilled to have you joining us for another episode of Live with Laura that's really turned into a platform where we are able to find out so much more, not only about people in our community, but about the good things that they are doing in our community. And Dawn Putnam is definitely one of those people, one of the co-founders of Moms on a Mission. You've referenced your sister.
Yes.
What is her name? Let's give her some love.
Misty Barth. That's my baby sister, my A1 from day one. Absolutely couldn't do it without her. And my entire family is involved. My mom runs the Pay or Pray that I was talking to. She runs the register. My dad runs the homeless outreach. It's just really all adorable.
And you're a proud boy mom.
Absolutely.
So you have some strong guys who are able to help you in your mission too.
Yeah, my nieces, nephews, and my kids, and Christina Beaver, her 2 kids. We just... I use the word we force them, but they love to go. They truly have a heart for the community. My second to eldest niece one day wants to, when I'm old and gray, she says, when you and my mom are too old to do this, who's going to run it? She asked. So she wants to run it. So yeah.
Your nieces are so much nicer than I was because I would tell my dad, well, Daddy, you'll be died by then. So good. I'm glad that they're a bit sweeter.
That's funny.
This all started by you and your sister simply noticing something.
Yes.
Noticing people living on the street whenever you would visit your dad at the docks. This has grown, though, into so much more. Let's talk about some of the types of people you are serving. Foster children and families, veterans, teens and youth, people who are disabled, the elderly, and low-income families.
Yes.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and that's probably not the full list. We try to see a need, fill a need type of a deal. So what I found is empathy is not selective. And so if you have a heart for helping people, I don't have the ability to cut it off to one demographic of people. And I feel like if God gave me this particular platform, I'm going to use it to help as many different kinds of people and as many different kinds of ways as we can. So we don't have a zip code requirement. You don't have to be from DuPont. You don't have to be from this area at all. If you can make it to us or we can make it to you and we have what you need to make your life easier, we will give it to you.
What is the greatest need you are seeing right now?
It's always food. People face food insecurity, in all walks of life. People who you might not think, your neighbor who you might not think is facing food insecurities may be. From our homeless friends every week, we take food down to them. We serve St. Louis once a week and St. Clair County, Illinois, and Belleville once a week. And we give away mostly food. We also do $10 McDonald's gift cards. There's a homeless shelter called the Biddle House, which is downtown on Tucker, and there's a McDonald's right there. And so we crowdsource and we say to the people, hey, we're going to go this week and buy some McDonald's gift cards. If anybody wants to donate, I'd be happy to go pick them up and hand them out. And we do $500 typically at a time. We do $10 McDonald's gift cards. And the beauty is we show ourselves buying them, we show ourselves handing them out, and we invite anybody at any time to come with us. So transparency is why I think we're successful in a lot of what we do.
With the food that you are distributing, where are you getting that food from?
From the community. So people would be really surprised to know that haven't been around for a while that we do not have any big sponsors. We don't have any government funding. Everything we do runs on private donations. So we put a need out to the community, to our village, and we say, village, we need these items. We need snack items. We need drinks. We need, cooling towels. We need different kinds of things for different reasons. And every time the community shows up arm in arm, ready to help. And a lot of times these are people who we've met on the streets, who we have helped, and now it's come full circle, and they are back and they're on this side, and they're like, how can I help? And that's something that I didn't even ever expect to come from this. And it's one of the things that I'm most proud of.
And something else you should be most proud of is the fact that you have not only created this beautiful thing physically in your community, but also digitally and virtually. If you would have started this organization 20 years ago,
who knows?
It would have been so much harder.
It really would have been, yeah.
Because of Facebook.
Absolutely. We run everything through Facebook.
And please tell us how that has been.
Yeah, so Facebook, whenever I first started back in 2014, it started with the group on Facebook. And I was like, well, people want to know so much, we can maybe post our needs here. We had our very first official event with the Dupo American Legion called Hygiene for the Homeless. And so we basically just set up and we collected those things. And it was those pictures, those initial pictures of all the deodorant on the tables, all the toothpaste on the tables, that really caught people's attention. And they were like, I can donate a tube of toothpaste. You're absolutely right. And if your neighbor can, and that's how this all works. Everything starts really small but ends up really big because it's how much love you put into it.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because sometimes when people talk about nonprofits, they think times are tough. Absolutely. So they think, I can't right now make that $10, $25, $50 donation.
Yeah.
But even when you're at Walmart picking up toothpaste, or you're on Amazon getting that toothpaste, adding just one more to the cart.
Exactly that. Yeah. And there are so many different ways, because we come from this. None of us have any trust funds or a lot of money. We're all just hardworking people who understand that need because we come from that need. And so very often, I always say $5 is great, 5 minutes is better. Because if you can donate me 5 minutes of your time, I can show you how you can go into your own life, or you can come with us and make a difference. Because when I started this, I didn't have a dime. Everything was just an idea that I could show people how they could help people. And so once you're able to do that, you realize most people out there really do want to help. They just think, like you said, I can't help. You absolutely can. I have no education. You don't go to school for this. If you have that tug on your heart, or if you have that call, you already have what is needed. That's all that's needed. That's it.
And what I have also found in nonprofits, mentioning time, sometimes people just want to talk and feel heard. And I would think the volunteers at your center, at your building, when they are meeting some of the people who are coming in who physically need things, these people also need that emotional and a mental connection too.
Yes, absolutely. It is part of our absolute survival to be able to feel like we are cared about, like we have a purpose, like we're not here for absolutely no reason. Every single life is precious. Every single life is important. And I will argue with you until you're convinced that you're just as important as the next person, because it's diamonds and rubies. You can't really compare. And so we really do pride ourselves on stopping and making real human connections with people. And I think that's why people are so passionate about our group and about what we do, because you don't just come here, now you're one of us. You're part of the village. You are just as important here as I am here, because none of this is happening with just me or just you. It takes all of us. And so that's the idea of what we try to push.
will you please share a story that sticks out to you about a moment of connection that you have witnessed through Moms on a Mission?
Absolutely. So, as I mentioned, our building is open just a couple of days a week because it is staffed by all volunteers. And we're never there typically on a Tuesday. But I had to go there. I was meeting a couple friends of Moms on a Mission who were making a donation. They asked me, "Can you meet me there?" No problem. So as we're there, we get a knock on the front door, and she says to me, "Were you expecting anybody?" "No, of course not. We're not open on Tuesdays." When I opened the door, there was a man standing there who was clearly in need of some assistance. His clothes were tattered. He was very sweaty. He looked tired. He had on 2 different shoes. He was covered in cockleburros. And he says, "I am so sorry that it is not Friday or Saturday like your sign says, but somebody in town told me maybe I could come here and get some help. I'm all turned around. I'm trying to walk to Kentucky," he said. And I said, "Well, it looks to me like you found the right place. Come on inside." I welcomed him in at the time. I wasn't the only person there. There was a few of us there. We welcomed him in, and we immediately got to work. You know, what do you need? What do you need? But what we found out pretty quickly, his name was Bill. Bill needed somebody to talk to. Bill needed somebody to express all of the things that he had been through in the last couple weeks before he found us and how hard it was. And he didn't have anybody to pour that into. And sometimes when your cup is so full of all that negativity and you don't have anywhere to pour it out, you just hold on to it. And it's sad. It drains you. It's heavy to carry. And so we let Bill just pour all of it onto us. And we learned that he knows so many things about baseball. He had every baseball stat you could possibly ever think of. He told me about the Cardinals, who was coming up to play. He was so happy he was in St. Louis because he's been following the Cardinals since he was a kid. And we just learned a lot about him. And we offered him everything that we had there. So he had new clothing items, a pair of new boots when he left. And we were able to fill his backpack with, he had some spoiled food in there, and the streets is nowhere for belly problems. Mm-hmm. So we were able to get him some good, healthy food going forward, and we were able to get him a bus ticket to save him that long walk to Kentucky. We were also able to go and take him to have a shower at the Flying J truck stop because he wanted a shower. And I mean, he deserved a shower. So, but we were only able to do that because of the village. I don't have all of the money necessary. And I mean, who does to help every person? But if we all extend our hand to one person, then boy, that makes quite a ripple.
And you have to imagine how many people Bill had come across who dismissed him.
Absolutely.
And didn't pay attention.
Right. And so that's why I like to get our message out there, because something as simple as that one person who did take the time to talk to Bill, to tell Bill, "Hey, I don't have all the answers, but I know somebody who might be able to help you." That seems like, oh, I didn't do anything. You changed the entire trajectory of his day. He would have just kept walking and he would have never found us. So you may feel like you did nothing, but you did it all.
I'm going to challenge you on that. His day, don't you think his life?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think probably his life. What I like to think is that when times are tough, he remembers that it's not everybody. There's kindness out there. And sometimes the people who seem unkind, it's not that they're unsure, not unwilling. Mm-hmm. And the goal is to convince people to give it a try. Give it a try. Help somebody out. The worst thing that happens is you go, "Oh, that wasn't for me," but at least one person got helped. It's not gonna hurt anybody. Like we can't all help our neighbors, but we can all absolutely not harm our neighbors. So that's just a way to take it forward and go, just a kindness. I mean, just complimenting somebody on their outfit. I have seen this happen before. I have seen 2 women cross paths and one woman say to the other woman, "I love your dress." And as they cross paths, this woman now has a pep in her step that she didn't have before, because building each other up isn't expensive. It's easy.
It's very apparent that you were raised so right to see the good in everyone.
Yeah, my parents are fantastic.
And they were always community driven too. Would you please explain to our viewers how important that is and What a blessing, a small town upbringing where everyone knows everybody and everyone does rely on everybody to lift them up at low points too.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's that expression, we rise by lifting others. So we are only as great as the least of us. So we want to find that person and lift them up. It brings the entire community up. And my parents, I grew up with different people staying with us from the family, people who were down on their luck. My mom and dad going out into the community and being very big in Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, PTA, sporting events. One Easter, I woke up and there were extra Easter baskets on the table. And I was really confused. And I got a little excited. And I said to my dad, Dad, did the Easter Bunny bring us extra baskets? And he said, oh, no. You know, the neighbors down the street got them dogs. And the bunny was terrified. He could not go down there and deliver the basket. So he was like, you're braver than me, which made total sense to me. I was like, oh, for sure. You're braver than a big bunny. And he said, and so I told him he could just leave him here with your guys' baskets and we would take him down there later. So he made sure not to ruin the magic for me or for the neighborhood kids. And to me, that made perfect sense. But then as you grow up, you realize my neighbors were having a hard time. And my parents knew that. And we don't come from money. They didn't ever have, we've never had a lot of money per se, but we have each other, and so why wouldn't you want more of each other? Like, let's just make this a big village and everybody has each other, right? So it's a heck of a way to live. Like, it's a really wonderful way to exist.
It absolutely is. And friends, as you are listening to Dawn Putnam of Moms on a Mission, we're up against another break. As we take that break, I want you to go to Facebook and check out Moms on a Mission, where so much of your community and your village gathers. And you do a really good job of constantly updating and engaging throughout the day.
Yes.
Which is a full-time job in itself.
It really is. But I'm just so inspired by it all. Like, how could you stop? It's like whenever you have a really good video game or a really good book, you just don't want to put it down.
And you talk about meeting people where they are. And in today's world, we are on social media.
Absolutely. Social media permeates everything. And so why not get on there and try to really battle against the negative that you can see on social media.
That is such a good point. Dawn is a ray of sunshine. It makes sense that your name is Dawn. Well done to your parents once again on that.
Maybe they set it all in motion by the naming.
I think they absolutely did. We are thrilled that she is giving us so much of her time here on Live with Laura. We'll take a quick break, come back with Dawn Putnam of Moms on a Mission. This episode of Live with Laura has just made me want to go out there and do something for someone else. As I sit across from Dawn Putnam, one of the creators of Moms on a Mission, I have to think about all of the people that you have impacted in the official decade that you've been a licensed 501c3. One word I've kept thinking about as you've talked about the people you've served that I haven't heard you say yet, though, is dignity.
Yes.
Even though people are down on their luck, they still deserve dignity.
Absolutely. Yeah, we meet people exactly where they are. We serve everybody exactly the same way. We would never attempt to, that's why we don't do zip code requirements. You don't have paperwork to fill out. If you tell me you're in need, I believe you. And so we never make anybody feel like they have to prove it to us or that we are giving from a place of judgment, but rather always from a place of understanding because we've been in many of these positions ourselves.
It is amazing that you treat your friends like this because it sounds like that's what they become to Moms on a Mission.
100%. When I say you're part of the village, you're part of the village. Like I said, I might tell you to drink some more water and wear your sunscreen, but absolutely, I'll make sure that you have what you need. If I've got one sandwich and you're hungry, I've got a half a sandwich and so do you.
That's a beautiful turn of phrase, and I think I might borrow that in the future. And you also are big on celebrations. Just before the commercial break, you talked about how your dad still made Easter special for you and for your neighbors down the street who are struggling at the time. Moms on a Mission does a lot around holidays.
Absolutely.
Please walk us through what you do around Halloween, Thanksgiving, into the winter holidays?
Absolutely. So Halloween, we like to have an event called Costumes for, number 4, cans. And so that is exactly what it sounds like. Parents can come out and get a costume for their kids in exchange for 4 canned goods to help with our pantry or our blessing box. All of the costumes are donated from members of the community for members of the community. And it's really something that helps parents not have to worry about that extra expense right at the end of Halloween. And it allows kids to come and pick any costume that they like without mom and dad having to worry about it. Following that, we invite them to come to our Trunk or Treat, which is hosted down at the Dupo American Legion because it is very tremendous. We call it one of our biggest events of the year. We get about 2,500 people that come through. We get a lot of community members set up their trunk or treats, set up their cars. We have DJs come out sometimes and play music and have a full haunted house Halloween experience. And that's all just, fun, safe community fun that we like to put on. After that, we start focusing on our Thanksgiving meal kit distribution, which is a very large distribution. Every year, we strive to serve at least 500 local families with a Thanksgiving meal kit, but we always exceed that goal tremendously. This past year, it was closer to 750 families. And when I say a Thanksgiving meal kit, what we do is we really try to make the meal mirror the meal that we are having with our own families. So it's an extended table all across all of these towns and communities. The Thanksgiving meal kit has everything from a turkey, every side you can think of, all the way down to the dessert. We collect them by the community, turkey by turkey. We have some groups that will gather. The Glen Carbon Police Department is one of them. They stand out in front of their Walmart for us, and they collect turkeys, and they bring us an entire truckload of turkeys. We have a lot of other community members, but a lot of times it's one person was able to get 1 extra turkey, 1 box of stuffing, a can of cranberry sauce. We collect it all at the Dupo American Legion, set it up food drive style, and I say, okay, guys, this is how many we have. This is what we need. And then the magic happens. The community starts pouring in. Hey, I've got 6 cans of cranberry. Hey, I've got the sweet potatoes. And before you know it, we have laundry baskets filled with 750 full Thanksgiving meal kits distributed in a drive-through distribution to our neighbors. And so we pray over the meals, and, we hope that people pray whenever they eat their meals and that they think about the community. And then following that is our absolute biggest event of the year, which is our Christmas wish list distribution. So in this distribution, we take the upstairs of our building and we turn it into Santa's workshop. I think we have more toys than Walmart when we do this. This past year, we helped over 600 families with over 9,000 gifts. So what happens is families sign up. It's called a self-submission. They sign up through our website when we open the signups, and we let it run for a certain period of time, and we let God tell us how many families need the assistance. And every year I have many strokes, all the heart attacks, because I go, oh my gosh, how will we fulfill this need? And I know how we will, but I'm a human, so that worry is just instilled in me. And we set it up, each child that is on the wish list, the parents get to shop for them. We don't pick the gifts. The community donates, and then the parents come and they select. So we have a small section, a medium section, and a large section. Each child gets 3 gifts because Jesus got 3 gifts, and we think that's just the perfect amount. So they each get 3 gifts, 2 stocking stuffers. They will pick 1 family game because we believe in family game night and togetherness. It all starts at home. All of this starts at home. And so we give a game board to the family. Petco donates stuffed animals and so each kid also gets a stuffed animal. And the beauty of it is, I will get emotional about this one. The beauty of it is that the parents get to shop for the child. So they are involved. They are involved with Christmas, with picking out something they know their kid is going to love. And because of that, the people who donate know that the item they've donated is going to be loved by the child that it's given to because mom or dad or grandma or whoever came out that day picked it out for them. And we do this 1 month at a time. We don't collect anything out. We don't have very much room. So all of those 9,000 gifts came in 1 month's time. From the time we put the shout out until the time we gave them away, we actually had a little less than a month. And we have all kinds of different spots around the community that's a local toy drive place. Drop off here, drop off here. We take our bus that was donated by St. Clair County. We use it for so many missions. But we take our bus and we drive around and we do a stuff the bus. And the community just comes in so strong because they know what it's like, because they've been on the list, and they go, it was such a blessing to me to be able to be part of my kids' Christmas in that way. So it's one of my favorite events, but I couldn't pick one. I love all of the events.
And the joy that it brings to the people donating. I'm thinking about my late grandma, and when she would do things like this for our church, how much she enjoyed going to Walmart and picking out the toy herself.
People do it for so many different reasons. Some people, they take their kids and they have their kid pick out a toy they would like and then teach them the beauty of philanthropy, of donating, of wanting something that you would love, also being able to give that away. We have people that do it in honor of other people. And some people just do it because she's like, I shop all year long and I have all these prices $1. And so for whatever reason that the people decide to get involved, we are so grateful, because without the community, we couldn't possibly help the community.
You mentioned how you have several strokes in the lead up to the fall and winter holidays. I'm going to guess you are the type of person who does not say no.
No, I won't. They yell at me about it all the time, actually. All the time, they're like, girl, you have to have a stopping point. But I feel like if God sent him to me and I'm able to get people to help, then that's what I'm supposed to do. And we do. I mean, eventually we reach a limit. Like eventually in that, however long time span, we have to go, okay, within the 2 days we have to shut off so we have time to collect, because we don't know how many people will be collecting for every year. We have no idea. And it's just it's a crazy way. We pay all our bills one quarter at a time. People said, that's crazy. You're not going to be able to pay your insurance, your building, your electric. We don't get that for free. We have to pay like everybody else. By not charging people for things, Dawn, you're not going to be able to do that. 10 years later, we have not had our electric shut off. We have insurance on our bus. We keep it full of gas. Not we, the community does, because they want this to be happening because they're part of it. A lot of people benefit from one event and then donate their time for another event. That's literally how it mostly happens. So some people need help with Thanksgiving, but maybe they can help with the Halloween costumes. And so that's how we talk everybody into making this work.
We have a few more moments together. Dawn, I want to talk about you. You're such a ray of sunshine. It makes sense that the storms passed and it's now beautiful outside as we have this conversation in real time. But even the brightest lights dim and have hard days.
Absolutely.
On those days that you did hear the stories that just gutted you, or you're dealing a lot with your very big family that you are in charge of too, what do you tell yourself to keep going on your mission?
I just know that God would not have started me down a path that I wasn't meant to be on. And any time that I start to doubt that, I take time to reflect. It is extremely important to shift your focus, because we all find ourselves sometimes focusing on the negative things. And if you can just look at one positive thing and look at another and another, it builds upon itself until you've trained your brain to only focus on those positive things. So that's what I try to do. But just because somebody carries it well doesn't mean it isn't heavy. So sometimes we all have bad days. That doesn't mean you're any lesser. It just means that you're human and you're designed to sometimes refill your own cup.
You are now officially 10 years in as a licensed nonprofit, but you've been doing this work for 12 years.
Yes.
No thoughts of slowing down?
No, I actually sometimes think of different ways that we can expand and help more people. And my family just looks at me like, girl, don't you have enough going on? My youngest son is profoundly autistic. And so this has opened new challenges to me that makes me, we now have sensory giveaways as well, which is something that we didn't have before, because I am willing to say I don't have all the answers, but I am willing to do what I can to meet a need when it's presented to me. And so who knows where we'll end up I'm content where we are, but I'm willing to grow.
And for other families who has a child with autism who comes to you, that's another way that you can connect one-on-one with them so they know they're not alone in navigating this.
Absolutely. I think it's very important that they see somebody that advocates for autism and the fact that it is beautiful. It is absolutely no reason to be shameful. If your child gets an autism diagnosis, we called it an awesome diagnosis because you're just going to see life in the most beautiful, unapologetic way. And that's a gift that you were given.
And you continue giving so many people gifts each and every day. You mentioned the building is open on Fridays and Saturdays.
Yes. Yeah, we collect donations there, and we also have the pay or pray available, and food, clothing, toys, anything you would get at a thrift shop, plus food.
Exact location of it.
440 McBride Avenue in DuPont, Illinois.
Great. And what are the hours on Fridays and Saturdays?
9 to 3 for shopping, 9 to 12 for donation dropping.
And you are there each Friday and Saturday?
I'm there every Saturday for sure. Some Fridays, my sister's there. So Misty is Fridays, Dawn is Saturdays. We're both really great. So, no. But if you would like to come out, yeah, we're there. My mom is the one that runs it. Her name's Arlene. She will be there all the time. And my dad, Joe, is almost always there as well.
For people who have been moved by your story today, what are really good ways to get in contact with you?
So, honestly, Facebook is where I am. I'm active. I mean, if you put a pending post on there, I'm going to answer it, or one of our moderators. But I'm on there all the time. We post everything through our Facebook group, not the page, the group. But if you just go to moms618.com, super easy to remember. There's a link to the Facebook page there and all the other information that somebody might need.
Since you are a mom on a mission, what is your favorite part about being a mom?
My favorite part about being a mom is being able to experience life through a 20-year-old's eyes, through a 16-year-old's eyes, through an 11-year-old's eyes, through an 8-year-old's eyes, and being able to hopefully imprint the good things, but let them stumble and fall. I like to see that they're picking things up. I like to watch them grow. And so there's no greater joy. Like I always say, my greatest joy is being a mom. That's why it's called Moms on a Mission.
You are doing a great job. You are an awesome mom.
Thank you.
Not more importantly, equally as importantly, you are an awesome mom to the entire DuPont community.
We try. Yeah, we do try. You know, not everybody has a mom or a cheerleader. So if you want somebody who's annoyingly optimistic, check me out. We can be friends on Facebook.
And we are. Thank you so much for giving us the gift of your time.
Great.
And friends at home, if you do have gifts that you can offer other people who might need them right now, moms618.com and Moms on a Mission on Facebook.
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks
today.
so much for having me out.
And friends at home, until next time, thank you for listening, thank you for learning, and thank you for being Live with Laura.